So do you think that there's too much emphasis on race in relationships?
No, I don't. I think this is the year 2012, and these days that's not a big deal anymore.
I do think there's a lot of emphasis on race in relationships.
I don't think there's that much emphasis placed on it actually. Like I have a lot of friends from different ethnic backgrounds and different like sexual orientations and all that type of thing.
Yeah, sort of, I think.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I don't really have much to say about it. I mean, no.
Oh, okay.
I think there is too much of an emphasis placed on race because in today's day and age, race doesn't really matter, especially when it comes to love. It should be colorblind, and there are a lot of biracial people, such as myself and such as like Barack Obama, that show that love transcends race.
I can say myself, my girlfriend, she's Korean, so I don't think that's a problem anymore. It's in the past. It's a melting pot.
Like as a black girl, if you hang out with too many white friends, you're seen as white yourself, and it kind of, you blur the lines of stereotypes and whatnot. So I'm from Jamaica, where it's like interracial relationships are okay. You know what I mean? And here it's like you walk down the street holding hands with a white guy, and you're looked at funny.
I think our generation, there isn't as much emphasis on race in relationships. I've been in relationships with people of other races, and I've never experienced a problem with it. But I think talking to people of an older generation, like for instance my parents, there's a really big emphasis on race. They were really unhappy when I dated people of another race, even though they claim that they're not racist.
But I still feel like the older generation is against it, and then even still now, you just see a lot of like races and stuff. They're like, oh, why are you dating that person? You should stick with your own race. But
so I don't know. I think like our generation is kind of getting more in step with the fact that people of different races want to get together and have relationships. But I think there's still a stigma attached with it because of the older generation.
Our generation seems to like you know, take part in it more heavily than they did before, because like, you know, there was all like the segregation and stuff generations before us and everything. I think now it's becoming more acceptable, but there are still some people who in our generation were raised by people who didn't approve of it, so it's kind of taboo.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a really big issue in the past. It's definitely a big generational gap. I feel people are a lot more accepting of like races interracially mixing with relationships and everything.
Well, I think it's too much emphasis depending on what culture you're from. Coming from my culture, some people questioned me marrying a girl who wasn't 100% black. Even some people in my family, but not too many. And once they got to know her, it was fine. But before I was married and before we were dating, I've dealt with people who told me our relationship, if you want to call it that, could never get serious because their parents would never accept it. So I think it's more what kind of culture you're from. I know an Indian girl who has a white boyfriend, and she refuses to tell her parents that this guy is her boyfriend because they'll disown her. I've dealt with a white girl who told me she could never be serious with me because her parents would never accept it. But in terms of society accepting it, sure, because you see it on TV all the time. You see interracial celebrity couples, and everybody accepts it. But once it gets close to home, some families have a problem with it. So it's not so much too much emphasis is placed on it, but more will your family accept it, because society doesn't really place an emphasis on it.
Yes, I do, actually. And it's funny because in you all's generation, which is my son's generation, there is so much more openness now between who you date and who you don't date. But for the people from my generation, we still sometimes kind of go, huh? What? You know, and you kind of have to get over that, because if you truly are teaching your children love is love and everybody is equal, you have to trust that who they're choosing as their mate is who they want as their mate, and that they may not see color, and that you need to stop getting over that. But I do think there's still a lot of emphasis on race and relationships. Yes, I do.
It's a tough question because when you know, you're talking about people, and then you're talking about you know, a way to categorize them. So I almost don't know how to answer the question, because so much of it's affected by how you're raised. you know, and you kind of are the direction that you get from your parents. And so if your parents are uneducated, then there's a good chance that your opinions are going to follow that same uneducated or ignorant direction. As far as emphasis goes, you know, it's a hot button, and media tends to form opinions, and forever it'll be something that'll draw people to buy magazines or newspapers or tune into a certain station, and until there's less sensationalizing and more acceptance in the media and different areas that affect public opinion, it'll probably always have the emphasis that it shouldn't.